So I'm doing a wallpaper repair, and this wallpaper, after it wraps around this corner, is a little this way here more than it is here. And why is that? Well, if the corner does this, your forward edge is going to be a little like that too. One of the ways to combat that is to trim the wallpaper right here, about 3/16 of an inch. And then take this sheet and put it right over that cut mark. But this is textured wallpaper. And so you'll see that edge. But you would avoid this issue. You would avoid this. Okay, I'm going to take a little paste. This is heavy duty clear wallpaper paste. I'm going to put it in there very generously. Okay. I want to make sure that the backing is against the wall. That colored part is the backing that has come off of the wallpaper, but it still will do its job if you just simply get paste under it if it has lifted. If it hasn't lifted, just leave it alone. Okay. Okay, so now we've saturated the backing again on the wallpaper and on the wall itself so that we're not going to have any adhesion issues. Now, our issue is here, that it's overlapping. So we have a bit of a different problem here. It looks good on video, but it's not good. See that? Not good. Oh, I like that. Did you see that? That's what we need. Oh my goodness, that would be wonderful. Okay, so the remedy, oh my goodness, I love it. Look at that. See, that's what you want to do. You want to slightly move the wallpaper over. Now, since the rest of this is dry, this job is done. You can count on this wallpaper repair not moving back. Okay? In other words, the reason why it overlapped, you saw that paper underneath it, right? Well, that expands. You know, you ever read a book? What happens to the pages in the book, right? They curl up. Why? Well, you saturated the fibers of what makes up the paper. And then you expanded the boundaries of where the paper used to be. And so there's a little bit, it's expanded. Well, it expands here too. With a single edge blade, I would tell you to take an edger and put it over the overlap. And you'll see maybe a 64th of an inch of wallpaper sticking out. And then what you would do is, with a single edge blade, cut right down that little sliver that sticks out of the edge. That's how you would do it if we weren't so successful tearing the paper back. Okay? Although this is a vinyl composite wallpaper, this method worked, but if you have a thick vinyl and the product is all vinyl with a fabric backing, well, you may, when you pull it back, you may stretch it. And then when you put it back, it won't go back. Just imagine like Play-Doh pushing on it. You know, you kind of like mushed it where it expands. It's not a great example, but you make the wallpaper misshapen after you put the pressure on it. This is a composite. This can handle that. All right? So let's lift the seam. We're going to just apply some water and wet that seam. I'm going to leave it until the seam is liftable. I want that seam to come up. I don't want to tear it, you know? See how she's coming up? See that? Let's do that. I'm going to wet that and lift that seam. What I'm doing is accelerating the process of this wallpaper. Not drying, but setting up as it dries. Now, if this were not so successful, what I would tell you to do is this. Now, if you get a bubble in your wallpaper and it's in a corner like this, there's a great advantage. You can just lift it up. Now, if it has this paper backing on it and you've lifted it up and you see there's backing on here and there's a backing, there's part of the backing down here. I want to show you how I will proceed to do this. I'm going to try to lift up this backing, but I'm already failing at that. So here's what I'm going to do. If you don't nail this backing down, well, you can glue this wallpaper back. You're still going to have a bubble. What you want to do is paste the backing back down, okay? And get some glue. See, I sliced down into it, okay? So we're now putting the backing down. Okay, that's all you're doing. That's not going anywhere now. In fact, when you put this back down, this paper will join exactly where it was, okay? See, we gotta get those bubbles out of there. Why does this happen? When you find out the great answer to that question, call me and let me know, okay? Now, there's a lot of reasons. Okay, so our backing that remained attached to the wall, we lifted up. I got paste under it. Now, the backing is going to stick to the wall, and now my wallpaper will stick to the backing. Okay? It really is as simple as that. Now, your bubble or your issue may not be in this inconspicuous area. It might be in the middle of a wall. You wouldn't do this approach. Just showing you, this is one way to handle it. Let's get this smoothed out. Okay. Now, in any repair, you want to wait around until you're confident that your repair is something for which you're not going to have to return. A good way to lose money as a wallpaper hanger is to make callback trips to places you should have spent another half an hour at prior to leaving. Now, let's do the test. All good. Now, we saw when the seams overlap. But what about when the seams split after a corner? So when you put this in place and the corner is exerting tension on the forward edge of the wallpaper, because this corner comes a little further out this way. But when you install the wallpaper, the vinyl stretches into place. But after it relaxes, it manifests what you're looking at. Well, how would you go about fixing that? It's not there, but it's here. And as a paper hanger, I know if I put my laser level on this corner, the line is not going to be on the corner as it will be here. The line on my laser will be right about there. It'll be on the wall because the corner kicks out a bit, manifesting in a separation of the wallpaper just by a hair, but perhaps an unsightly hair, right? So what do? This is why it's hard to wear a wedding band when you're doing wallpaper work, because inevitably the metal will scratch the paper. I wet the paper because I know that it's going to come up. The seam will come up without tearing. Just be gentle. The water is to facilitate the separation of the wallpaper from the wall. That's why we're doing it. And we're doing it very gently because we want to use the wallpaper to go back down, right? We're going to put it back in place. So what we're essentially doing is relaying the seam now that we've gotten it off successfully. Now let me tell you, if you're doing this and your wallpaper is ripping here and stop. Don't do that. Don't do that, because it'll only work if your wallpaper is old and brittle. This is not the procedure for that. It's going to rip. Okay, now that we've gotten it off, we're going to apply some paste in there, right? And now we're just going to go up and down that seam and make sure we have more than enough. More than enough. You want to be super generous with the paste application. Okay? And how much is enough tearing back? Well, I would say you want to pull back more on this type of repair than you want to do when it's overlapping. Overlapping, all you need to do is pull up a little. Pull it away from the seam. But when you have to push it more this way, you need more wallpaper to stretch. So common sense, right, I think would dictate that you pull off a little more, right? Now this massage that I'm doing, I think will be all that's necessary to stretch this product. You see, this is all dry. So all I'm doing is looking to just stretch this amount. I think we can do it, and walk away knowing that it's gonna stay. Then we wanna see where we are with the paste in the seam. Now we were generous, and that's why we have a bulge of paste manifesting itself in this line here. We're gonna get that out. But just for beginners, I'm using that to just help the wallpaper get over there. Get over there. Nice and easy. Get over there. I take this extra paste off. And it seems like my seam is just about where it's supposed to be. Okay? What do you think? Now, I'll give it a final work over with my thumb. Okay, I wanna massage, I wanna push that paper with my thumb. I don't trust my smoother not to rip it. So my thumb can rip it too. But I got a plan C if I rip it. You gotta know how to do splices if you're a paper hanger. If you rip this stuff, this is easy to cut out and replace. Just little pieces at a time. But the issue here is gonna be moving that seam over. Okay? Let's try to keep doing that. Look at that. Look at that. Oh. Wow, we moved it so much over, we got an overlap. That's all right for now. Just for now, it's okay. Let's push that over. Come on. Is anybody watching thinking, why doesn't he push from the other side? Well, it's a good question. This was the side that moved because of this corner. This wasn't. I'm trying to tell this wallpaper, don't you dare go back. Don't you dare go back. Hold on now, let's roll it. I want to get that excess paste out of there. See it coming out? See that line? I don't want it in there. So we start here, push toward that seam, okay? And then we do the same thing here. Now I opened it up to demonstrate a point here. I opened it up because I want you to see that the paper, this is paper under there. Not wallpaper, but backing. It's backing. And what happens when you wet paper? What happens? It expands, right? So that when I fold this over, can you see any expansion there? Swelling, I should say swelling. Do you see this little line here? What do you think will happen to this line when this dries? I'm not here to deceive anybody and make it look like I want to explain what you can expect. Why don't you see this when you wet the whole sheet of wallpaper? Because when you wet the whole sheet of wallpaper, it's all swollen. But you're only wetting an inch from the edge, and so this is swollen. And what happens to bumps and bruises when the swelling goes down? It looks normal. And take it from me, who's here to teach and not deceive, there's going to be no swelling when this dries. No swelling at all. Okay? What do you think, folks? Do you like it? Remember, there's texture underneath here. Okay.